Wonderful. Love to see that. Time to go live then. Going live. You're live! Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild using the CEMU emulator, the Wii U emulator. Why not Yuzu or Ryunix, which are the Switch emulators? Well, this is the best way to play Breath of the Wild on PC. It's the most configurable one and the one that runs the best, so you might as well play it on CEMU. How are you guys doing? I'll be testing it on the 1050 Ti, 750 Ti, 570 and the 1650 Super. Hey, Jim76UH, always here. Yeah, I'll remember to use a multi-core recompiler, don't worry. I configured everything before starting. Koa-an, how's it going? He says, Hilai. Okay, that's fair enough, I guess. So guys, let's take a look at the options. So we're going to general settings and how you're doing motivation. Nice to see you here. So in the options, I'm going to be using OpenGL first. On NVIDIA, it runs fine. Enable precompiled shaders, Bcubic, Bilinear, here, audio, X Audio 2, and that's basically it. That's for the emulator options. Then on the game's options in graphic packs, I'm going to be using this FPS++ with 120 FPS limit. Then in GPU specific workarounds for OpenGL, this too, and these options right here. Then on enhancements, I'm not disabling anything, everything as default. And on graphics, 1080p instead of 720p, which should be the native resolution. So everything on default, but I increased the resolution to 1080p. So yeah, anyways. And then, and the game profile, almost forgot. It's on multi-core recompiler. The last time I tried this, there was a dual-core recompiler and a triple-core recompiler. Now they merged everything into a multi-core, so it is like this. And on this it's true, because the graphics API, I selected it from the CEMU menu itself. This is a stream, this is a live stream, we're live now. So let's start the game. I'm going to be using a PS4 controller. So yeah, what CPU are you using? I'm using a Ryzen 3 3100, which in this case will be the limiting factor. If you have a faster CPU, it's going to be a lot better, especially in the open areas, but I'll be talking about that in a second. Do you use Afterburner? Yeah, I'm using it. Sí, el emulador mejora todo el tiempo. Resident Evil 8 demo is confirmed to release on the 16th. Well, great. If that's the case, we're going to play it. Let me see. If that's on PC, hell yeah. Okay, it's getting a PC demo in the spring. Well, probably in a couple of days. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to be streaming it. So we're now into the game. Since we selected 120 as a FPS limit, the menus move very quickly. So let's start in the Great Plateau. I downloaded a save file to be able to access to the entire map. So we're doing that. We're doing Kakariko Village, the forest. We're doing all that good stuff. Are you using OBS? Yeah, in a separate computer. So as you can see, guys, we're already into the game. And as you can probably notice, we are below 60 frames per second, which in this case will be a CPU limitation. As you can see, the GPU is not maxed out. So if we did like 720p, it will be still at 50 frames. But again, remember, if you have a faster CPU, a Ryzen 5 3600, something like that, or the Intel equivalent, it's going to be a lot better, probably over 60 frames. So yeah, let me show you very quickly other areas. We're going to go to the village because CPU limitation. So should be here, Kakariko Village. Yeah, the castle is one of the most demanding areas. Yeah, that's another one. A lot of effects on screen, I guess. But I'll be trying also the forest. It has a lot of gut rays and particles on screen. Yeah, this game is not made for 120. Yeah, I know, but I wanted to have unlocked frame rates to see what we got. A 3400G will reach 60? I don't think so. Should be similar to this. Or a little bit worse. Probably a little bit worse. As you can see here in the village, we are even more CPU limited. We're into the 40s. So yeah, again, faster CPU will mean faster performance in this scenario. So yeah, kinda makes sense. So in this case, I'll probably use VULKAN when we are CPU limited, like this. Yeah, with that 10400F, you should be able to get 60s. Yeah, it shouldn't be difficult. And a 3400F should also be able to. So as you can see, it drops due to the CPU now. We're going now to the, what's the name of this? The Korok Forest. Because a lot of foliage and effects. Switch to VULKAN and async turned on, increases FPS a ton. Yeah, I'm doing it after this. I wanted to show you OpenGL first, and then we do a VULKAN. In this case, VULKAN will be better because we are CPU limited. But I wanted to show you OpenGL first because usually that's what we use on NVIDIA cards. Sí, Tony, va a usar más GPU, pero el rendimiento va a ser el mismo. Estamos limitados por CPU ahora. Ya vamos a probarlo. Paciencia. So as you can see here, with more effects, we're using more GPU. So here we are more GPU limited. Still, the CPU is kinda limiting things a bit. They're dropping the demo after the showcase on the 15th, 11 PM for me. So 16th for anyone in Europe. Well, thanks. Thanks for the heads up. At that time, I'm probably going to be training, so I might skip it and do it the day after. But thanks, man. I appreciate that. So as you can see, it drops into the 40s in CPU bound places, in GPU bound places into the 50s, which is fine. So let's close it and do a VULKAN now. So now we're going into the graphics packs, and we're doing two things. First, we disable the OpenGL fixes because we don't need them if we're using VULKAN. Then we enable all the VULKAN specific things. And I'm going to keep the FPS to 60. I mean, we're not getting anywhere over 60, so why would I do that? What else? Yeah, that's about it, I think. And now we have to change the API to VULKAN in the general settings. So in graphics, we go to VULKAN. And we have a asynchronous shader compile, so it should be better. It shouldn't stutter, should be super quick. Yeah, 70 degrees should be okay, man. Should be fine. This is now VULKAN. So VULKAN plus async. So let's see now the Great Plateau once more. ¿No es mejor usar Yuzu? No, para Zelda no. Para Zelda mucho mejor CEMU. ¿Te lo pasaste al 100% con un i3 2100? Bueno, me alegro que pudiera jugarlo. Hey, Wolfgang, how's it going, man? Good seeing ya. How about 70 degrees for the CPU? As long as it's not on idle, should be okay, in my opinion. So as you can see now, we're back into the Great Plateau, I think it's called. And as you can see, we're into the 50s. And if we look into the distance, let's see how it goes. No, it shouldn't be difficult to set up. It's a few options here and there, nothing crazy. So yeah, should be easy to configure. I left a video in the description on how to configure the game. The emulator, better said. So yeah, as you can see, it's a lot better in comparison to OpenGL because we were CPU limited on OpenGL. So yeah, into the 50s now. I'm doing well, thanks, man. Glad you're fine as well. Este es el de Wii U. This is the Wii U game, but since CEMU is so advanced on this game, it's way better to use the Wii U version. Runs better, looks basically the same. You can increase the graphics, the resolution. So yeah, as you can see here, it runs okay. So let's go to the Kakariko village. Let's see how that goes. Which is more CPU bound. On VULKAN it should be better, due to that reason alone. Pero este con la 750 Ti todavía no Sebas, pero viene pronto. Debería llegar a 30, lo más bien. Alright guys, we're back into Kakariko village. It's compiling a few shaders every once in a while, but it's asynchronous, so it doesn't stutter. And as you can see, instead of dropping into the mid 40s, we are basically into the 50s more often. So yeah, still CPU limited, but not as much as on OpenGL. A little bit better. But I mean, I'm not fighting in this village, so I guess that's fine. Yeah, some drops into the 40s here and there, but definitely better than OpenGL in this case. Will you try your 2060 on this? Yeah, maybe. It should be able to do 4K just fine, but on the 2060 I probably want to use the Ryzen 5 3600, which is on the streaming PC. So yeah. Anyways, let's go now to the forest. The Korok Forest. Tenés un 2600, 8 de RAM. No creo que haya 60 porque precisas más RAM. Va a usar más de 8 probablemente. Así que si le pones 8 más debería ir bien. Don't worry guys, at first there will be a little bit of stutter because of the shader cache. Yeah, true. True. Exactly. You got that right. And here in Korok Forest, we're still upper 40s, low 50s. So it should be fine in most cases. Just remember, if you have a better CPU, expect better numbers. But with this CPU or something slower, I recommend VULKAN over OpenGL. So yeah. Anyways, hey Mark13, how's it going, man? Can you pair a 1650 Super with a Ryzen 3 3100 more often? I do it on every live stream, so not sure why you're asking about that. Yeah, it does look beautiful, I agree completely. So as you can see on 1080p, the game runs fine. If you want to use higher settings, well, you'll be below 60 more often. But as of right now, it should be good this way. So yeah. Would I recommend it like this? Yeah. Yuzu versus CEMU depends on the game. On this game, CEMU all the way. No doubt about it. The CPU is in the description. The CPU I'm using. So yeah, in this case, again, I would recommend the VULKAN. More stability, at least when I'm CPU limited. Maxing out the draw distance. Yeah, sure, I might. Okay, rain now. Neat. Looks cool. Let's fly around a little bit. Sí, capaz que sí. No sé si es lo más pesado de CEMU, pero sí, lo exprime bastante. So yeah guys, as you can see 1080p you can do 45 to 60 with these settings on VULKAN. And if you have a slower CPU, well, expect 30s. If you have 4 cores, 4 threads. I'm using a PlayStation 4 controller, but you can use any controller that you want, as long as it's X input, sorry. So Xbox controllers should work completely fine, yeah. I mean, if you have a faster CPU than this, it should be 60 basically locked. So a 3600, I don't know, an i5 9400F, 10400F, something like that. It's going to be faster, that's for sure. Yeah, this was unbelievable a year ago. Yeah, exactly. It's insane how fast this makes progress. So yeah, as you can see, it runs okay. Let's lower the resolution a little bit, just to show you that we are CPU limited. And a little bit of fighting, why not? I have a limited stamina. Yeah, such a badass. We did it! You have to go for a bit. Well, okay, Flying Puppy, thanks for being here, I appreciate it. Bye-bye trees. Will super sampling improve performance? No, super sampling should decrease the GPU, well, make more load on the GPU. So the GPU will do more work. But the CPU should be a little bit less concerned in that regard, because you're usually getting less FPS. So yeah, we're trying higher than 1080p, but first I want to show you 900p. So allow me a second. I'm going to restart the game so I can change the resolution. Can I finish this? Hang on. Yeah, I gotta quit directly. Okay, that's alright. Let's quit the emulator. I'll launch it back up. So now what we're doing is 900p, then we do 1440p, which should be okay. So in graphics, we're doing 900p now. And the rest should be basically the same. Just to show you the improvements, if there's any. So yeah, now 900p. So yeah, it should be better in the forest, but then overall it should be basically the same. We're CPU limited most of the time. So yeah, let's go back to the forest right away. What now? You're using a Ryzen 7 2700 with 5700 with the RX 5700 and getting 40 to 50. Kind of makes sense. Make sure you're using VULKAN though. Well, as you can see now in the forest, we got an improvement because we were already GPU limited in the forest, but then in the other areas, the CPU was the limiting factor. So in places with a lot of foliage effects, the castle comes to mind as well. You're going to drop below 60. So yeah, running fine in the forest. ¿Sabes si puedo jugar el juego en 4K en un monitor 1080p? Sí, puedes forzar 4K y no vas a tener ningún borde de serrucho. So as you can see, the forest is a little bit better because we were always GPU bound in the forest. So let's go now to the Great Plateau, and then we go to the Korok village, the Kakariko village, sorry. I messed that up. How is Juan? Santiago? Yeah, it's doing fine. He's in the basement doing thumbnails for the videos and the live streams. So yeah, at the moment, doing fine. Let's move around. Does anyone know if the joystick of the Series X has gyroscope? I do not know. ¿Se podrá jugar en un 3400G en 720p? Sí, pero no esperes 60 FPS. Alright. So here I remember getting drops into the 50s, so it's slightly better. As you can see, the GPU not breaking a sweat. So yeah, a little bit better. Let's get to the ground. More forest going on. 6-core, 12 threads is recommended for higher resolution to keep stable 60, sadly. I mean, in this case, it shouldn't make a difference. When you increase the resolution, the CPU is doing basically the same. The GPU is getting more load. But if you want 60s on a higher resolution, yeah, you'll need a faster CPU and a faster GPU at the same time. But hey, you can play it at 30 frames at 1440p if you want better visuals, which is what I would personally do. But again, VULKAN, as you can see, is doing better. So yeah, let's now go to the village. Should be better, because we were CPU limited in the first place. El juego me corre en un i3 7100 y una 1050 Ti. Sí, te corre lo más bien. Debería estar a 30 FPS, debería llegar. Con 8 GB de RAM deberías poder, pero se te va a llenar rápido esa RAM. Astral Chain, veremos. I'll test Astral Chain maybe later. We'll see if it works correctly. Anyways. So as you can see now in Kakariko Village, drops into the 50s. So a little bit better than on 1080p. On 1080p we drop into the upper 40s sometimes. Let's go down there. So as you can see, yeah, the CPU is a big limitation, but still we're over 50 most of the time. So yeah, as you can see, not difficult to run at all, at least on this PC. So yeah, if you wanted improvement, again, consider a faster CPU if it was in your budget in the first place. So yeah, let's get out of the emulator once more. Let's do 1440p now. Let's put the GPU to its knees. So on graphics, we jump all the way from 900p to 1440p. So it's going to be fun to look at. And what else? Oh, I'm going to change the desktop resolution as well to 1440p. So it scales correctly. And we're just in VULKAN because I got better numbers on VULKAN. So yeah, we're doing 1440p now. Está toda la descripción, el CPU, el GPU, toda la descripción. Everything is in the description. Will the i5 9400F do better? Yeah, it should be over 60 more often. I have videos on that. So now we're doing 1440p. I'm not expecting anywhere close to 60. Well, maybe, who knows. But it's going to look a lot sharper, so if you want visuals instead of frame rate, you got the option. So yeah, let's see. Whoa, the game looks so much better. It's insane. So much sharper. Holy hell. Yeah, I'll probably play it at 1440p if I had the option. So much sharper, it's insane. I mean, for a game with this art style, sharpness is really noticeable. Even stuff into the distance I can make out. So yeah, beautiful game so far. And it's on the default settings. I could increase the draw distance, the resolution of the shadows. I'm probably going to do that after this. But as you can see, flying around here, we are okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, no problems whatsoever. On this one, if you want to do 1440p, well, you got the option. Looks pretty good. Where's Juan? In the background? No, he's in the basement, editing videos and live streams and thumbnails. Sí, solo con una D50 Ti ya va bárbaro. Guys, if you have a 4-core 4-thread CPU, it should still work, but I would aim for 30 frames per second instead of 60. But yeah, as you can see, the GPU is capable of doing over 30 at 1440p. So yeah. Yeah, we're going to the forest now. 1 second, guys. I just wanted to show you this part first. Let's go to the Korok forest, which is all the way here. Which is usually a GPU-bound scenario. Also uses CPU, but it hits the GPU much harder. This is a good place to test. ¿Has probado este juego ya con la 570? No, viene después de esta gráfica. Así que paciencia, ya llega, ya llega. Okay, so here's Korok Forest. Let's go. Okay. Here we are. And as you can see, at the moment at least, we're over 30 frames. How about i3-9100F, 8 GB of RAM, RX 570? If the RAM is on dual channel, it should be playable, but it's going to fill the RAM very quickly, so my advice, if you can have more than 8, go for it, but with that CPU you can do it. Just make sure to target 30 frames per second, not 60. 4 cores and 4 threads is not enough for 60 frames in this emulator, at least right now, on this game. Let's get up to a tree. Yeah, the trees with transparency in front of the camera destroy the performance. But we're still over 30, so good stuff. Yeah, even turning everything on fire, we're okay. So yeah, let's go to the Kakariko village now. We're going on a tour around Hyrule. Sí, 1440p en una D50 Ti, es increíble eso. So good. If you want to play with better visuals, you got the option. And you can even increase the shadows, although I wouldn't do it in this case, because in the forest we were already into the 30s. But hey, here we go. Let's throw down this tree. We hate trees, so might as well destroy them. And in here, since we were CPU bound before, now we are completely fine. As you can see at 1440p in this part, there are no problems. We stay over 30. Hey, Just Frame Deep, how's it going, man? I'm doing fine, what about you? No, the 2060 Super is too weak. Well, if you use a 2060 Super, you should be able to even do 4K. I mean, here we have a 1050 Ti doing over 30 frames at 1440p. Okay, no air going on here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, even looking into the distance is okay. But man, 1440p looks so sharp. It's insane. Anyways, time to do 4K now. and then we do the 570. Yeah, it's already 25 minutes in. What the heck? Birds. Anyways, so let's now swap to 4K. Let's see what happens. So we're going to 4K on the desktop as usual. So CEMU uses that as a reference for the resolution. And then let me zoom in to show you. Here in graphics packs, we go to graphics and we increase the resolution to 4K. I don't have high hopes, but hey, might as well try it. We're going to decrease the no anti-aliasing. We're lowering the shadows. We're lowering everything. No depth of field. There's almost no performance gain, but hey, might as well try it since we have the option. And what else? Yeah, it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. FPS++. Let's limit it to 30. Now let's keep it at 60. The default is not going to change anything. So yeah, we keep it like that. And we launch the game on VULKAN. Because VULKAN runs better, at least for me. So F's in the chat already for the 1050 Ti. I have no hopes. And I'm still disappointed. So back in the Great Plateau. And again, it's going to be pretty demanding. I mean, 4K, from 1440p to 4K, there are a lot of pixels of a difference. So yeah, F's in the chat. And as you can see, well, better than I initially anticipated. But man, the game looks so sharp. It's insane. So much clarity. So as you can see, even with the settings lowered, we drop below 30, and this is not the most demanding part. The Korok Forest is going to be pretty demanding, if this is already below 30, but still, pretty interesting that we can get over 25, at least right now. Let's put fire on the screen. Yeah, with fire on the screen it drops below 30 pretty often. So let's go back to what? Oh, here. The forest, let's finish it up. Yeah, the 750 Ti, F's in the chat for 4K on the 750 Ti, but this is a 1050 Ti, so it's faster. CEMU es el nuevo Switch Pro, sí, para Breath of the Wild, sí, básicamente. I was saying in Spanish that CEMU is basically the Switch Pro on Breath of the Wild. So yes, you can see in the forest, we are at 25 FPS all the time. Which is okay, I mean, completely cinematic experience, the best way to experience Breath of the Wild, at a sharp 4K, at a cinematic 24 FPS. So yeah, let's just swap to the 570 now. This is embarrassing. So we get out, and we turn off the PC. You know that I'm going to ask for 8K on the 1650 Super, right? Yeah, I know, we're going for that in a bit, so patience. We're getting there. So time for the 570 now. So 1 second, guys. We're swapping GPUs. So here's the 1050 Ti, 1440p 30, 1080p 50 to 60, well, some drops to the 40s, and 1440p 30, and 4K 25 FPS. So yeah, not bad, considering it's emulated. Here's the 570. Let's plug it in. All right, it's going back in. Sí, Pablo, se supone que es solo resolución. Debería ser básicamente lo mismo. For the people asking, I think that the Switch version and this, the difference is the resolution and the performance, I think. I think it's more stable on the Switch. Don't quote me on that, though. But yeah, it should be the same game, basically. But you can increase the graphics on the PC version with the emulator. So that's already great news, if you ask me. So yeah, time to do the 570 now on VULKAN right away. You know how that goes. So here we go, 570. And we're doing 1080p right away. Let's see the graphics specs beforehand. But on this one, we are putting FPS++ at 60. Yeah, all the VULKAN options enabled. We enable everything else like it was before on default. And then we're doing 1080p. And normal FXAA and shadows at default. So yeah, that's definitely the same thing. Then we're doing 4K, don't worry, we're getting there. We need to wait a few seconds. I need to try it out with default settings. Multi-core recompiler, 45,000 cycles, I think it is. This on true. And then on the general settings, we're just in VULKAN with async shader compile. And that's about it. Not much else that I need to show. Tutorial for this in the description if you're interested. So yeah, let's give it a shot. Wish me luck. Yeah, I'm going to do Nier Replicant once it releases on PC. So no worries, we're getting there eventually. CEMU o Shusu para Breath of the Wild, CEMU. Para el resto no sé, depende del juego. Hablando de CEMU al mismo tiempo, bueno, gracias. Se agradece, Tony. So guys, let's jump into the Great Plateau, then we're going to the forest, then we're going to the Kakariko village. Why doesn't your drivers hate each other? Because I delete them each time I finish a live stream and reinstall them. So there's not a lot of swaps going on. I am very careful with that so they don't hate each other. But I need to be, I need to delete them each time I finish. So as you can see, there's nothing on the screen. This is because it's compiling the shaders. So once it compiles the shaders, the stuff shows up instead of getting a stutter like on OpenGL. So as you can see, as I do stuff, the game will start showing the assets as it compiles shaders for the first time. So the more you play, the less you will have missing graphics, as you can see. So yeah, pretty good for the developers for adding this feature, because before you had stutters each time you got a new asset on screen. As you can see, no fire, and then fire shows up because it loaded into the shader cache. So yeah, I highly prefer having asynchronous shader compilation because you don't have any stutter. Well, you have very little stutter, but the game is playable. So yeah, leave it for a few minutes and you'll be okay. So yeah, as you can see, it's pretty good. We're over 50 frames at the moment and it started raining. Perfect. And as you can see, it's using more system RAM. And now since it changed to the rainy part, we had a black screen because it compiled the shaders once more. But this only happens the first time you load the game. The more you play, the less that will happen. So yeah. Anyways. So let's now go to the forest. Yeah, Zelda runs great on PC with VULKAN, that's for sure. Even on the AMD cards that usually hate emulators that don't have VULKAN. Well, now that they put VULKAN and worked on it, it's a great way to play the game. Even if you don't have an NVIDIA GPU. Thanks, Chris H, I appreciate it. Will you play Red Dead Redemption 1 in your PC in the future? Yeah, maybe on Xenia and RPCS 3, but it's not going to be playable on my systems. Let's just leave it at that. So yeah, Kakariko Village, CPU-bound place. Let's see how it goes. Okay, very similar to the 1050 Ti in that regard. Drops into the 40s when looking into the distance, upper 40s. But then we're into the 50s most of the time. So yeah, again guys, if you have a faster CPU, expect higher FPS. Probably 60 more consistently. Un Vega 8 correrá mejor que la Switch, probablemente debajo de 720p, pero debería ser jugable. So guys, some people are asking me about Vega 8 integrated graphics. If your RAM is on dual channel, it should be okay. But try maybe below 720p. Just to take a taste on how it performs. But overall here, it seems to be CPU limited. So we don't hit 60 all the time, but we're over 50, so some drops into the upper 40s, but still completely playable. So yeah, no issues whatsoever. Let's now go to the most demanding part on the GPU side, the Korok Forest. Let's go there. Saludos desde el sur de California. Bueno, el guapo 818. Saludos desde Uruguay. Desde acá, de Sudamérica. Mientras miramos cómo se derrite todo. Would we expect to see longer async shader recompilation times on HDD as opposed to an SSD? Yours seems to compile almost instantly. Well, I'm using an SSD, so it kind of makes sense. So thanks for the heads up on that. I mean, the game is not super big, so should fit in most SSDs. But good point on that. I didn't remember to take that into account. As you can see now in the forest, which is more GPU bound, we're using more GPU. Makes sense. We're still dropping into the 40s. So maybe 900p is the best option for 60s on the 570. La 580 no va en este video y serían 10 FPS más que la 570, pero como estamos limitados por CPU sería casi igual. Si le subís a la resolución, iría mejor a la 580. I was saying, guys, some people are asking me about the 580. Well, the 580 would be, in general, is 10 frames ahead of the 570. So in this case, since we are CPU bound on 1080p, you will get basically the same numbers. But if you're doing, well, maybe a few extra frames on this forest, but if you're doing a higher resolution like 1440p, 4K, then the 580 will get like, yeah, 10 FPS more than the 570 in general. So yeah, expect something like that. So as you can see, 1080p is fine on the 570. Time to do 900p to see if we get an advantage in performance even on the forest. So we're going back to the graphics packs and we lower the resolution to 900p. That should be probably over 50 all the time. Let's find out. So this is now 900p. CPU, Ryzen 3 3100. You can find everything listed in the description. And we're doing 8K on the 1650 Super, don't worry. We're getting there eventually. Yeah, on a 1070 and an i5 9400F should be basically 60 frames. Even on the, well, if you have a good enough CPU, that is. Sorry, a good amount of RAM. If you have more than 1 GB and on dual channel, White Wolf, it should be fine, should be 60. Shouldn't be difficult for the 1070 and the 9400F at all. Alright, so we're here. When I had some grass on screen, I got some drops into the 40s. Let's fly around a little bit. Will it run smoothly on a 1063 gigs and a 2700? Should be over 30, but I wouldn't expect 60s. Due to the CPU, make sure that you have RAM on dual channel. Should be completely playable, but I wouldn't expect 60 frames. I mean, it will be better than this, that's for sure. But the single core performance there should hold you back. But I'm noticing that it's more stable on 900p. So maybe 900p is a better option if you want 60s, like on the 1050 Ti, which is interesting. Do you have Twitch? No, I do not use Twitch. I personally don't find it any use. I don't find any use for Twitch on my channel. Since I live stream on YouTube. All of you guys can see me on YouTube. You can change the resolution. I can stream at 1440p. So yeah, Twitch is not an option, at least for me right now. So yeah, let's now go to the village. But when you take a look at this build, it's amazing. You can play any games on PC and still have fun. Yeah, exactly. If you're not looking at the FPS counter, it should be okay. Just follow the instructions in my videos. Turn off the FPS counter and enjoy. That's basically what I recommend doing if you have a PC like this. Let's see. Yeah, just like on 1080p, we're CPU limited. So we're into the upper 40s when looking into the distance. Low 50s when we are not looking into the distance in this village. But again, if you have a faster CPU, it's going to be more stable, that's for sure. Way more stable. So yeah, but still, I mean, over 40, you cannot complain really on an emulator. ¿Ya probaste la 750? No, viene después de esta. After this one, we're doing the 750 Ti, guys, so patience, we're getting there eventually. But as you can see, in places where nothing is going on, like this, it is almost perfect. So yeah, let's run. RX 550, 2 GB, 3600, 60 frames per second, maybe at 720p. Probablemente a 720p con la RX 550. Alright. Yeah, let's go now to the forest. Final test before jumping into 1440p. So let's fly all the way there into the forest. We're almost there. Yeah, the CPU is limited. Yeah, I know. The CPU is a limitation, yeah. I said it multiple times. But I know that most people won't have a faster CPU than this, in general. So I wanted to test something in the lower end of the spectrum. So yeah, hey, Thunder, how's it going, man? Good seeing you again. It's been 24 hours. Yeah, it appears to be better here because it's usually more GPU bound, this area. So yeah, over 50. No worries, man. I imagined you just got here, but I wanted to clarify, just in case. Maybe you didn't, so that's fine. Don't worry. What CPU? Ryzen 3 3100. ¿Cuántos núcleos aprovecha el emulador? Pa, me mataste. No tengo ni idea exactamente cuántos. Pero más de 8 parece aprovechar, por ahora. Should I go to the Ryzen 5 3500X or an Intel i5 10400F? Go for a 10400F. It has more threads, and it's usually faster, I think. Yeah, I'll say it again. It's CPU limited. It's CPU limited. It's CPU limited. That's hilarious, man. Are you using any reshades? No, I'm not using reshades. Most people do not use them, so I stay away from them in the channel. So as you can see, 900p is a lot better. A few frames better, especially on GPU-bound places. So it's time to do 1440p now. So we increase the resolution to 1440p, as you can see here. And the rest stays the same. We change the desktop resolution to 1440, so the emulator understands that we want to use that resolution. And we relaunch the game. So now 1440p, then we do very quickly 4K. But I mean, it should be fine. I think CPU is a problem. What do you think, Santiago? I'll think about it. A lot to reflect on before saying that. No problem, man. Why not 3600? Probably more expensive. In my country, at least, the 3600 is much more expensive. So that will be a reason. Okay, loading the shaders again for some reason. Weird. I wasn't expecting it to load the shaders again. Anyways. That's alright. Yeah, please load the shaders, please. We need them. To have graphics. ¿Vivís en Uruguay o en otro país? En Uruguay. Nunca me he movido de Uruguay. Ha. Yeah, haha. Okay, so at 1440p we're over 40, which kind of makes sense, similar to the 1050 Ti. No glider, now it showed up. Wonderful. Let's put some fire on the ground. Yeah, I mean for the channel should be, it's CPU limited. Because in most of my videos I'm CPU limited. Soy de Uruguay, pero gracias Sergio, se agradece. Se agradece el support. Yo, Melvin Bright, how's it going, man? Good seeing you in the live stream. So now we should have no graphics. There we go. Because the storm was coming. So shaders are being compiled. Wonderful. Okay, we got him. He's dead. I wish there was more usage on the GPU with higher resolutions. I mean, there is. It's at 80% instead of 60. And it's getting less FPS, so we're using less we're using more GPU. So it kind of makes sense. Jugador de juegos y haciendo videos, básicamente. De a poquito la fui juntando. Alright, guys. We're almost... Whoa. I forgot to turn on the light. So we're now in the Kakariko village. More CPU limited, so it should run basically the same. Around 40. Yeah, basically. So yeah, over 30 in the village. To be expected. This is not super GPU limited. It's more of a CPU thing. As usual. So let's now go to the forest. Very quickly. Del país vecino, geniales vivos el tuyo con el... Ah, Metal Gear 4 en Play 3. Bueno, bienvenido de nuevo entonces. Alright, loading. Alright, 1440p in the most demanding part for the GPU. Let's go. We got this. Yeah, 30 FPS in this game is fine. I agree completely. I played it at 30 on the Switch and on the 750 Ti. So yeah. lmao, it should be basically the same. You just pair your controller with the PC, and once it's connected, just use DS4 Windows, and it works right out of the box. So it doesn't matter if it's a DualShock 4 or a DualSense. Those work just fine on PC, using DS4 Windows. Aprendí practicando. Fui a clase y practiqué mucho, básicamente. Hace como 4 años que estoy hablando en inglés todos los días, así que eso ayuda. Yeah, 30 FPS in this game is great. I agree completely. But as you can see here, it's alright. No problems whatsoever. Have you tried the 2060? Not on this game yet, but I might do it on a separate video. And inside the tree... Yeah, inside the tree is still okay. Over 30 frames, just fine. So yeah, you can do 1440p completely fine on this game. Let's go for 4K now. Let's kill the 570. So first, we change the resolution to 4K. So CEMU knows what we're doing. We launch the emulator. And in the graphics packs, we go to graphics and we increase the resolution all the way up to 4K. You can even do 10K if you wanted. Not sure why, but sure, why not? If you have a fast GPU, go for it. So now it's the turn for 4K. Let's see how it goes. ¿Viste la noticia de Nier Automata para Steam? Sí, la vi, Gonzalo. Mucha emoción al respecto. Okay, hang on. We're going to start in the forest. ¿Para cuándo la 3090? Y cuando las regalen. 4K time. Here we go. Alright. Come on. You got this 570. Or you don't. Okay, so 27 FPS. But this is the most demanding part on the GPU side. So it kind of makes sense. So yeah, 4K. Rest in pepperonis. So let's go all the way back to the Great Plateau. Since in this GPU bound part, you're not getting 30s. ¿Qué va a pasar con Nier Automata de Steam? Lo van a parchear, parece. Guys, there's some news I wanted to share with you. Nier Automata is getting a patch on Steam soon. So finally, we're getting the Steam version patched. They announced. So once that happens, I'm going to be doing a live stream, checking it out. So yeah. Más cosas que testear, sí, tal cual. Más cosas que testear, literal, Pedro. Me leíste el cerebro. No sé cómo, pero... Alright, so... As you can see here, yeah, below 30. So yeah, you're not playing at 4K. Unless you like cinematic below 30 FPS things. Especially in GPU-bound places. But man, it looks so good at 4K. It's insane. Okay, time to swap to the 750 Ti. So, hopefully it doesn't die in the meantime. So we're going back to 1080p. We shut down the PC and we swap to the 750 Ti, the legendary graphics card from 2014. We're going to see if it can be a playable experience, probably 30 frames, but still, that would be great if we can do it. Oh no, Pedro, no lo des, por favor. That's funny. You guys are awesome. Always make me laugh. Here's the 570, let's put it to the side. Oh, it's hot, Jesus. Jesus, it's hot. Alright, time for the 750 Ti, the invisible graphics card from 2014. If this can run the game, anything can run the game, I think. I might do the GT 1030 as well. Now that we're here, we might as well. So I also have the GT 1030, if you guys are interested. I might do, I don't know, maybe 720p. So yeah, hang on, the PC is turning on. Buen día, M, ¿todo bien? ¿Qué dice? Algo bueno jugar en Yuso es que no usas los parches gráficos innecesarios. Ah, bueno, pero no puedes usar una resolución más alta, ¿no? Es una pregunta, no sé. Some people are saying that Yuzu now can run the game fine. Well, but can you increase the resolution, like on CEMU, or not? I'm genuinely curious. I do not know. Yes, I'm doing Resident Evil 8 once the demo releases on Friday. Yeah. Count on me. I'm going to do it. That's for sure. It's going to be fun. All right. So, what now? Oh yeah. So now we launch MSI Afterburner. We launch CEMU, and we change the resolution to 1080p because it shouldn't be anything higher than 1080p if we are honest here. So Breath of the Wild on the... Yeah, let me show you first the graphics packs. We're trying VULKAN because I got more FPS. But if it has low FPS, we're going to try OpenGL as well. So 1080p first, and then everything here as it's shown. So on graphics, 1080p, the rest as usual. Then on the game profile, we're using multi-core recompiler and 45,000. Then here are true. And then in the general settings, we're using VULKAN. So let's see how that goes. If it doesn't go well, we're doing OpenGL. So yeah, patience. We're trying. So yeah, here we go. Bueno, se agradece Juan Parra. Thanks, I love you too, man. Demo on PC, yeah, the Resident Evil 8 demo should be on PC on Friday. So we're going to be trying it out. So hopefully it runs fine. It will be a good way to test it before it launches, to see what to expect. So yeah, CEMU corre mejor en AMD o Nvidia. Si usas VULKAN en AMD va bien, si usas OpenGL o VULKAN va bien en Nvidia de todos modos, así que no hay problema, corre bien en todo ahora. Did you say the Resident Evil 8 PC demo is out on Friday, or did I misunderstand? No, it should be out on Friday, yeah. Okay, well, loading the shaders. 1 second, guys. So on the forest, we get 30 frames per second. Interesting. So this is the most demanding area for the GPU. So good to see that we're getting 30s. Although there will be some drops because shader compilation. You know how that goes. So yeah, interesting. I'll try OpenGL now. Let's see if OpenGL runs better. Remember, in this part, we're getting 30 frames per second on VULKAN. So let's see if OpenGL runs better or not. So we're very quickly going to swap to OpenGL. So for that, first we go into the workarounds. We enable all the OpenGL stuff. So all this enabled for OpenGL. Then in the general options, we're going for graphics, OpenGL, and that'll be about it. That should give us the same experience, but on OpenGL. So OpenGL, let's see if that runs better. Remember, on the forest, we were getting 30 frames per second. So it should be, if we get more than 31 FPS, it means that OpenGL runs better. So yeah. Tengo un amigo que le encantan tus videos, siempre los va a ver para configurar gráficos. Ah, bueno. Mucha suerte para Samuel Flores. Espero que le vaya bien con eso. Pero sí, gracias por mirar el canal y espero que te mejores pronto. Sí, le voy a bajar la resolución luego. Yeah, guys, after this I'm lowering the resolution to 900p, then to 720p, and after that we are doing the GT 1030, which should be pretty similar to this. But first I wanted to try OpenGL, but it takes a little bit of time to compile the shaders on OpenGL. So patience, we're getting there eventually. So yeah. Sí, 750 Ti. Yeah, guys, I'm using the 750 Ti at the moment. Imagine 40 FPS on OpenGL 1080p. Well, we can dream, we can dream. We'll see, we'll see. I'm going to drink some water. 1 second, guys. I need to refill my bottle. So 1 second. I got to refuel. Come on, water. Get into the bottle. There you go. Whoa. There's water all over my table. I made a mistake. I made a serious mistake. Good thing there's no electronics in that part. Anyways, what is your native language? Spanish. Spanish from South America. That's my native language. Español. Alright guys, hang on. I gotta dry the table a little bit. Alright. Get away from my table, water. Always making mistakes live. Love that. Anyways, now I have water. Let's get hydrated. Clearly not going to be playable. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's compiling the shaders now, so you never know. You never know. Maybe OpenGL runs better. Who knows? OpenGL use more CPU, but on the GPU side, it might be better. Who knows? I mean, considering the age of this graphics card, maybe it's better on OpenGL. We all can dream. Yeah, the 750 Ti is going to get wrecked, but that's fine. I mean, that's why it's here for. I'm here to torture GPUs. So yeah, anyways. I love the content on this channel. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Great emulator. Yeah, the emulator is advancing so quickly. It's insane. I mean, in a couple of years, we got a pretty good performance uplift. What a new meme. I got CPU limited. Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's a good meme. It's an inside joke, but all the jokes I make are inside jokes. Preferís Yuso ya que no usa muchas cosas como el CEMU para mover el juego. Bueno, es válido, es válido. Sí, sin mods gráficos, sí, lo vamos a probar después. Paciencia. Guys, I'm doing now the OpenGL to see if it runs better than VULKAN for the people that didn't hear that. But it takes a little bit longer to compile the shaders. So yeah, we do the 1650 Super next. Yeah, I'm doing the 1030 and then the 1650 Super. Although the 1030, I don't know, we'll see. Probably yes, but I don't know how long it'll take to compile the shaders on that one. Maybe it takes longer, who knows. Anyways, any chance of PS4 emulator? At the moment, the PS4 emulator that it's out there, Orbital, I think it's called, doesn't boot any commercial games, so there's work to be done on that one. But I think it boots into safe mode, into maintenance mode, I think it is. So yeah, still long way to go, the PS4 emulator. Well, that's alright, I have no hurry. So many PS4 games are coming to PC that no hurry to get the PS4 emulator, at least in my opinion. 750 Ti, OpenGL, we can dream for 40 FPS. Oh wait, we're CPU limited, lol. Yeah, basically. You read my mind, man. You're magical. Almost there, 65%. Come on, 750 Ti, you can do this. We got this, we got this. Do you know why? Do you know about any issues regarding temperatures on the RX 580? Like if I don't underbolt it, it's just horrible. Is that how all the XFX ones are? Well, in my experience, the dual fan XFX one was super hot, so I had to do an underbolt. But as long as the underbolt worked, I was okay. So it seems to be a thing with the brand maybe. It's Spanish from Uruguay. Any different from Spain? Yeah, it's very different. The Spanish from South America is usually I don't know, it's like talking about, I don't know, in Spain is more like refined, to say it in a way, like the difference between British English and American English. Basically, that the British English feels more like a high-end version. Well, that's the thing in Spanish from South America, is different. Let's refine, let's call it that way. ¿Vos pensás que Bloodborne va a salir en PC? Sí, probablemente. Yeah, probably Bloodborne is coming to PC later. So many PlayStation games coming to PC. El ASRock en la 580 ASRock también pasa. Ok, interesante. Some people are saying that also in the ASRock 580s, the temperatures are an issue. So interesting, it seems to be a common thing. Good thing we can undervolt it to make it better. So yeah. Uruguayan and Argentinian pronunciation is almost identical. Yes, yeah, almost the same, I would say. That's why people sometimes think that I'm from Argentina, because we talk very similarly. But there are some differences that most people do not know. Which is fine, I mean. Did you see the Snyder Cut? No, it was 4 hours long, so I said, I'll just watch the comparisons on YouTube to see how it improved, and man, the differences are kind of insane. But 4 hours, I won't watch a movie for 2 hours. 4 hours is too much. Maybe in the future, who knows. La Phantom Gaming parecía la superficie del sol. Bueno, tiene sentido. Thanks, interesting to know. No problem. And thank you so much, this EDX, for upgrading your subscription. You're now a member of an using Awesome Supporter 2.0, so thank you so much, man. I hope you enjoy your new icon next to your name and the emojis that you've been enjoying all this time. Thank you so much, man, for supporting the channel directly. Super appreciated, so I can make more content like this. If you guys haven't already, like the live stream if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And if you want to get notified as soon as I go live, click on the bell where it says all notifications. So each time I go live, you should have a notification and it'll say, hey, Santiago's live, go visit him. Well, my pleasure to have you here, man. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. Time to shine. Rise and shine, 750 Ti. Rise and shine. So remember, in the forest with VULKAN, we got 31 FPS, I think it was. So if we get more FPS than 31, that means that OpenGL runs better on the GPU side. On this card at least. So let's see. Okay, basically the same. 1 FPS more. It uses a lot more system RAM. So yeah, it's basically the same apparently, although more stutter, which is kind of weird. Let's see, fire. Yeah, I'll probably lower the settings to try and get more FPS, but 900p is probably the way to go. Yeah, probably I'll use a VULKAN. VULKAN uses less system RAM. Yeah, you got to compile the shaders, I know. But it appears to be more stable than this. Anyways. Yeah, 900p I think is the way to go. In the most demanding parts, 1080p is dropping into the mid-20s. So let's go to a less demanding part, the Great Plateau. But I will probably use a VULKAN. It's faster to get into the game. Sí, la 1030 la voy a probar también. Yeah, I'm going to do the GT 1030 after this. Patience. But I'm going to be using VULKAN right away on that one. In Argentina, there are different accents by province. The ones most similar to Uruguay would be the ones from Buenos Aires and Entre Rios. Sí, tal cual. Yeah, exactly that. You got it right. Yeah, VULKAN seems good. Yeah, you get to the game right away. Yeah, you got to load the shaders the first time. Whatever. But it seems to stutter way less. And it uses more... And OpenGL seems to be using more RAM. So yeah. Sí, los combino, los acentos, sí, pero bueno, es como lo aprendí, ¿qué va a hacer? Yeah, some people are saying that I speak a mix between American English and British English. It depends, really. The well-learned words in English makes it that I say some words in British, some words in American. It really depends on what I'm doing or saying. Alright. Yeah, this part that is not that demanding, we're over 30, so it kind of makes sense. Let's go now to the village, and then we swap to 900p. So, time to go to the village. Yay! Puedes rebobinar, Paulino, el stream, y a esta la 1050 Ti. If you guys want to see the 1050 Ti or the 570, rewind the live stream. Should be there. Very easy to find. Alright, here we go. Hi, Hassan Ali. How's it going, man? Where did Juan learn the streets? Yeah, in the streets below my house. In the underground world of Uruguay. Okay, Kakariko Village, still CPU limited. But again, we're getting more stutter on OpenGL. But you're over 30 as long as you are outside of the Korok Forest. So yeah, keep that in mind. Korok Forest below 30. The rest of the game appears to be over 30 just fine. So yeah, time to swap to 900p now. We're doing VULKAN as well, because VULKAN appears to be using less resources. Ya practico la 1650, no, eso viene al final. So guys, time to do now 900p instead of 1080p. So in graphics, we go to 900p. Then in workarounds, we enable all the VULKAN workarounds, because why not? Let's do them. We disable all the OpenGL improvements, because we're not using OpenGL anymore. And what else? Enhancements, everything is on normal. Yeah, 900p now. And we're swapping to VULKAN in the general settings. So VULKAN async shader compile. So we can actually play the game while it compiles shaders. And that's basically it. So let's start the game once more. But this time around on 900p plus VULKAN. VULKAN plus async, and that should be good to go. This is probably the way to get 30s all the time, even on the forest. We're playing on a gamepad or mouse and keyboard. I'm using a controller, a PS4 controller. So I'm playing a Wii U game on an emulator on PC with a PS4 controller. So yeah, great combination. What exactly can you tell us about your next project? My next project is probably going to be Resident Evil 8 on Friday, and tomorrow I'm probably going to upload more Breath of the Wild, but in separate videos, talking about the settings and all that. I'm probably at 2060 as well. We'll see. So as you can see now, on 900p we're getting over 30 frames. So yeah, pretty great so far. Completely playable. I mean, on 1080p it's already playable, we're over 30. But I mean, on the Korok Forest, that is way more GPU bound. You're getting drops into the mid-20s. So there's that. In more CPU bound places, it can be pretty difficult on 1080p to be over 30. Which kind of makes sense. It's a 750 Ti, but still, I'm pretty impressed that we're getting 900p over 30 with the native graphics. So yeah. Hey Lord Farquaad, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, welcome. Lord Farquaad in the house. Okay, that black screen thing, that was shader compilation on VULKAN. So instead of stuttering when it's compiling shaders, it'll just unload the asset until it's loaded, basically. So yeah, as you can see, with OpenGL, it was like 11 gigabytes of RAM. On VULKAN is 6. So just VULKAN. Do yourself a favor. Sí, 11 GB de RAM con OpenGL y 6-7 GB con VULKAN. Exactamente. Ahí ven la diferencia. Alright, time to do the forest, the most demanding part for the GPU. Resident Evil 8, minimum es a 1050 Ti, 750 Ti podrá correrlo. Sí. Probablemente, en menos de 720p, pero probablemente. Y perdón que hablé inglés mezclado con español. So some people are asking if the if the 750 Ti can run Resident Evil 8, since the minimum requirements is 1050 Ti. Probably below 720p if we are lucky. Estoy usando la versión más reciente, Arki. I'm using the latest CEMU version for the people asking. I'm going to show you the version once I try 720p. But as you can see here, the most demanding part on the GPU side, we're at 30 frames per second, even when I'm stress testing it by throwing fire everywhere. Why did Link disappear like that? Because it's loading the shaders. So the asynchronous shader compilation makes it that when the shader is not loaded, you do not have the asset on screen. But once it loads, it just pops up, which I highly prefer over having stutter when shaders compile, like an OpenGL. So yeah, there you go. 30 frames per second in the most demanding part. So this is probably the configuration I'll use for the 750 Ti. 900p, VULKAN with asynchronous, and that should be over 30 all the time. And you get good graphics. How much refresh rate in your monitor? 60 Hz. I mean, most people have 60 Hz. It's kind of the norm nowadays. Definitely VULKAN is a better option. Yeah, I agree completely. Even the frame times are a lot better, because I think it's using less video memory as well. So yeah, no reason not to use VULKAN so far. It's doing amazingly well. I mean, yeah. A graphics card from 2014 can do this. Yeah, even in this village is fine. And look at that non-stuttery image. Ya estás instalando CEMU. Bueno, si querés la guía está en la descripción. Guys, if you want to see a guide on how to configure this emulator, link in the description, a video from VSOD Gaming. He has a lot of videos on emulation, so he tells you how to configure it if you don't know how to do it. So yeah, that's pretty useful if you ask me. Okay, I lost my bow, I think. Oh, there we go. Okay, another bow. So yeah, as you can see, 900p will be my best configuration, over 30 all the time. It's actually called Frame Drop Forest. Well, that's a good way to call it. That's the only use I have for it. ¿Tenés otro trabajo aparte de YouTube? No, estudio mientras hago YouTube. Aprovecho el bug y estudio mientras tanto. Alright guys, so time to do now the 720p resolution. Super excited to give it a shot. So let me show you first CEMU 122.10v. That's the version I'm using. Let's check for updates. No updates. So this is the latest CEMU version as of the time of making this live stream. So let's go all the way down to 720p. You can even do 180p, which is kind of insane. That's probably for lower end GPUs. So yeah, now we're doing 720 on VULKAN. So 720p, VULKAN plus asynchronous. Wish me luck. Estoy estudiando un Real 4 ahora mismo. Y un poco de edición de video. Estoy tratando de mejorar mis skills. Y también un poco de medicina china. De todo un poco. Alright guys, so now it's time to go to the Frame Drop Forest, like you guys called it. Pretty hilarious name. Is there much of a difference in 1650 versus 1650 Super? The 1650 Super is faster. But if you got the GTDR4 version of the 1650 non-Super, it will be quite a bit slower. So 1650 Super if you can do it with your power supply. So as you can see in the Frame Drop Forest, we earned like 7 FPS more over 900p. Not a huge difference at 720p. Also I'm stress testing with fire, so kinda makes sense that it's dropping frames. But yeah, no reason to use 720p in my opinion. Es lo más bizarro que te escuché decir, bueno, pero es algo que me gusta. There's a bug playing Breath of the Wild at 60. Enemies don't fly away when using bombs, so better to play it at 30 anyway. Well, good to know. Thanks for the heads up. So, Korok Forest, let's go all the way back to the village, to the Kakariko village. Let's just fly all the way there. Yeah, monitor with high refresh rate can make 30-ish FPS be smoother even more. I'm not sure if that's the case. At least personally, it doesn't work that way for me. Alright, let's go. Oh, Michael, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Thank you so much, man, for supporting the channel directly once more. He says, so awesome we can play some of these Switch games. Great work as always, bro. Well, thanks. This is a Wii U emulator, actually, but it's the same game on the Switch. But yeah, man, thank you so much for the super generous donation. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And yeah, I'll keep on with this. The more I can do it, the better. Me generaste curiosidad, quiero saber qué corcho es. Bueno, búscalo en Google y te va a aparecer enseguida. Es algo que tiene miles de años. Hello Santiago, do you have a setup guide for CEMU? I don't, but there's a great channel called BOTW Gaming that covers everything related to emulation. So check it out, link in the description for the configuration. So as you can see, over 40 FPS. So let's go now to the Shrine of Resurrection, and then we swap to the 1030 to do super quickly 1080p and 900p on that one. Un saludo desde Chile, bueno, jugando en el sillón. Saludos desde Uruguay, se agradece un montón que estés acá. Alright, time to fly around a little bit. Come on, run. We can do this. But yeah, so far 900p seems to be the way to go. 720p doesn't seem to be absolutely necessary. We get a few extra frames, but nothing particularly groundbreaking in comparison to 900p. It looks worse and we get like 10 FPS more, but we're still nowhere close to 60, so yeah, I just use 900p and play at 30 frames. The game looks better, and you're still over 30, so yeah. Hola, Esteban Pro Shori 7, ¿todo bien? With the current market, you are lucky to find either one. Yeah, exactly. At the moment, it's pretty difficult. So yeah, 720p is fine. Let's now do the 1030 super quickly. I mean, should be slower than this, so probably 720p 30, but I'll take it. So this will be, we'll do 1080p first, and then we do 720p probably on the GT 1030. So 1 second, guys, going to remove the graphics card. Nice to see BSOD shown some love in the channel. Yeah, I mean, he does the best guides for emulation. So there's no reason not to recommend them. The only thing I dislike is that sometimes his titles are a little clickbaity, but other than that, I love his content. I mean, thanks to him, I can make most of these videos. If it wasn't for his tutorial videos, I wouldn't be able to do most of the emulation content. Sí, como acupuntura, Matías, exacto. Eso sería como un paso más arriba. Yeah, new is recommended unless you buy used GPU from a friend. Yeah, agreed. Exactly. You got that right. Got used to setup from BSOD Gaming, but can't play Breath of the Wild at 60 on that emulator. What do you mean? This emulator? It requires quite a bit of CPU to get 60s consistently on CEMU. So, you know, can be part of your PC. The limitation, I mean. What CPU you're using? It's all in the description. Alright, so GT 1030, as you can see. Let's go bottom of the barrel. So we're going to try, yeah, we're going to try 720p right away. So we're doing 720p, and let me show you the configuration very quickly. So we're using this graphics on 720p, which is a default for the Wii U. Then this, everything on default, and all the VULKAN fixes, FPS++ at 60, which is the default. And then in the general options, we got VULKAN because it runs better and yeah, it's more stable in general with asynchronous shader compilation. Then in the game profile, we're using multi-core recompiler, 45,000 cycles, and shader mode accuracy to true. And that's basically it. I think there's nothing more that I need to show you. So yeah, we're doing 720 right away. And let's hope for the best. Esperemos que no explote, tal cual. Hopefully it doesn't explode, the GT 1030 I mean. Let's see how that goes. Alright, let me turn on the controller. Come on, controller. Be blue. Please. Okay. Okay, it's blue. Awesome. I can play now. Let's go to the Great Plateau. You got a 3600, so I don't think it's that. Well, yeah, on a 3600 it should be okay. What about the GPU? And the RAM, is it on dual channel? Oh, my dogs are so annoying. Come on, we got this, we got this, we got this. Okay, it's loading the shaders. Wonderful. Come on, load those shaders. Alright. What the heck? It's doing better than the 750 Ti. Something is probably wrong here. What the heck? Okay, hang on, guys. I'm going to try 1080p just to see if it's doing better than the 750 Ti for some reason. Maybe it's better for VULKAN. Yeah, let's try 1080p. If that works, I will be super surprised. So let's go full HD. What the heck? I was getting better FPS. What the heck? That's super weird. Never happened before. So the GT 1030 is apparently God tier. Have a good mood? Well, thanks. Same to you, man. Same to you, Russian person there. Sorry, I cannot read your name. I don't know how to read Russian. What's your dog's name? One of them is Max, due to Max Payne, and the other one is called Sandu, which is some weird name we came up with. So yeah. Alright. Yeah, it appears to be doing better than the 750 Ti. Pretty interesting. Okay, I'll take that. VULKAN works well with Nvidia cards from what I read. Yeah, but it's doing better than the 750 Ti, which is pretty unusual. Maybe better compatibility with the VULKAN API. Thanks, Pablo. I appreciate that. Interesting. Alright, so 1080p 30 on the GT 1030. That's insane. I wasn't expecting something like that. You talked to BSOD, he said it's capped on Yuzu. CEMU, I think Unix can get 60. Yeah, Yuzu is capped. And they removed the... what's the name of this? They removed the option to increase the resolution. Okay, when fire shows up, it drops, but still better than the 750 Ti for some reason. So let's go to the forest. Let's try the forest, the demanding part. It was like 31 FPS on the 750 Ti. So let's see it here. Capaz que sí jugando en el sillón, pero el año que viene va a salir para PC ese juego, así que a veces me parece que es una pérdida de tiempo. Alright, let's see. The Korok Forest, I think it's called. Alright, I think we're good. Let's go to the very entrance. This way. Go to that tree that kills FPS. Yeah, I'm doing that. Here we are. Yeah, it's almost the same as the 750 Ti actually, now that I'm seeing it better. 31, 32. And if I throw fire... Yeah, instead of being 26, it's more close to 30. Closer to 30, better said. So yeah, the 1030 is doing a little bit better. That's interesting. Yeah, probably better compatibility with VULKAN than the 750 Ti. Super interesting, guys. Never saw that before. Kinda crazy. But good to see. Good to see that there's a reason to have a GT 1030 now. Switch version is 900p. That's super interesting. Let's now do the ultimate stress test. Let's climb the tree. So we get transparent things on the screen. Yeah, we dropped to 27 and now we turn it on fire. Yeah, mid-20s in the worst places. So yeah. Sí, qué crack, Pedro, tal cual. So yeah, it's doing fine. Let's go now to the Kakariko village. Yeah, I climbed the tree. I just did it. Yay, I climbed it. Yay. Alright, let's see. I wish I had a good shader cache. With Vulkan, you don't need a shader cache. It builds super quickly while you're playing the game. Alright, so Kakariko Village, 30 frames so far. Alright, so far so good. Yeah, no issues whatsoever on 1080p. So guys, if we're doing 900p, it's going to be over 30 just fine. I mean, if on 1080p it's okay. I don't really think 900p is necessary in this case. So we're doing 720p right away to give a try, to see if we can get 50s. I don't know, I'm pretty excited to give that a shot. The 1030 can climb a tree, good to know. yeah, exactly. You got that right. Did you test Luigi's Mansion 3? No, not yet. We'll see later. Yeah, there's some delay on the stream. Thanks, man, for the heads up. So yeah, now it's time to do 720p. So let's go for that. Hopefully it's a better experience. It's probably going to be much better, but hey, 720p default. So we'll launch the game once more, but this time at 720p to see if we can get anywhere over 40 frames per second. That would be interesting. The GT 1030 impressed me. Yeah, same, Jim. Same. Super impressed. I cannot believe how much better it is. It's kind of it feels like a joke, but it's not a joke. It's super crazy what we are seeing here. Usually the GT 1030 is behind the 750 Ti, but this is not the case here. Yeah, it will be max 50 frames. Yeah, probably. But hey, gotta give it a shot first. Okay, 50s. Well, drops into the 40s, but I mean, it's a 1030. That we're over 40 is already super impressive. This is 1030 that amazing really, but we are CPU limited. Yeah, you got it, man. You got it right. Este también anda mal en gráficas AMD. No, este Marcelo en gráficas AMD va bastante bien en VULKAN. Rebobinar el stream que la 570 va muy bien. Yeah, you guessed right. Mostly over 50, yeah. But it's going to drop in the forest. You know how it goes. So let's go to the forest that kills FPS. That would be fun. Yeah, the emulator is amazing. I mean, for the time it's been in development, it's kinda crazy how much it improved. Nice stream, I enjoy it. Well, thanks for that, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it as much as I am playing the game. ¿Te quedan las estadísticas media fuera de marco? Ah, gracias. Creo. ¿Quedaron fuera de marco? No, ahí están. Ah, bueno, gracias. Se agradece. So let's see, guys. The moment of truth. The forest. Come on. Run. Use it for life. Well, yeah, it's improving as well. Me arrepiento de haber vendido mi 1050 Ti. Bueno, a muchos les pasó, no te preocupes. Alright guys, so fire on screen now. Yeah, we drop into the 40s, but I mean, nothing major. Let's see, now we climb the tree of death and destruction. Yeah, still into the 40s. So let's see with fire on the screen. Yeah, nothing. So over 40 frames per second on the 1030 at 720p. Nowhere close to 60, but hey, I wasn't expecting anywhere close to that anyways. So yeah, I mean, just go for 1080p. You're going to be over 30 most of the time. Drop below 30 in the forest if there's fire at the same time. And 900p if you want to be over 30, even if fire is an issue. So yeah, GT 1030 all the way. How do emulators handle motion controls? I've always wanted to emulate Skyward Sword. I'm not sure. Skyward Sword is a special one, but I think that you can use, if you have a controller that has motion controls, you should be able to configure it, but I do not know how to do it myself. I think there's a video by VSOD Gaming better said, that he configures motion controls, but I'm not sure if Motion Plus has a way to be emulated. Do you have a favorite Zelda game? Mine is Majora's Mask. Well, I was never a Nintendo guy. I just got a Switch very recently, and I love it so far. But Zelda so far, I'm not liking Breath of the Wild so much. Too much freedom to do whatever you want. So I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I think I like Skyward Sword. I played a little bit of that one, and I liked it more than Breath of the Wild. I'm more into the more classic games. And I want to try one of the top-down versions. That one recently released for the Switch. So yeah, my childhood was mostly PS1 and what, an NES and SNES. So yeah, Zelda wasn't really my childhood. I'm just getting into it. So yeah, 60s when nothing is going on. So yeah, GT1030 did better than I anticipated. Time to do the 1650 Super. So let's shut it down. We shut down the PC now. So time to swap GPUs once more. Gotta change the... Whoa, the light. It's too bright. Holy hell. Hang on. I'm getting blinded by this. Okay. Perfect. So no GT1030 now. A Link to the Past. Yeah, exactly. That's the one I want to play. Seems to be more like my type of game. A Link to the Past, yeah. Wind Waker, I never had a chance to try it out. Here's the 1650 Super. So let's plug it in. We connect it. And HDMI cable. Boom. We're good to go. ¿Las tarjetas de video son todas tuyas o cómo las haces para testear constantes gráficas? Sí, son todas mías. Las compré a lo largo del tiempo, digamos. Hang on, going to move the light a little bit. There we go. That looks better. A little bit. Yeah, I need to figure out how to get more light into this room. Wind Waker was my childhood Zelda. Well, it must be good then. It has a super great art style. I saw some footage on it. It aged very well, considering how it looks. Usually games with those art styles hold up pretty well across the time. Alright, so time to do the 1650 Super. We're going to start with 1080p. It's probably going to be just fine. So let me show you the settings for CEMU. We're using VULKAN. No reason not to use it so far. Then on the game settings, the graphics packs, we're using 1080p, as you can see here. We're using also NVIDIA FXIA, should be a little bit better looking. Then what else? I'm going to increase the shadows to high. Then enhance reflections, why not? Anisotropic filtering cranked up. Well, all the issues for VULKAN patched with this, FPS at 60, and that's about it. Then in the game options, the game profile, multi-core recompiler, that's what we got, and 45,000 cycles, and shader mode accuracy to true. And that's basically it. Let's jump into the game again. Hey, Take Hero LOL. Well, the GPU market is, how to name it, like the amount of vibranium we have. Yeah, completely uncontrollable and broken. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got that right, man. Cell shading holds better in graphics department. Yeah, agreed. Alright, back in the Great Plateau. Here we go. ¿Qué gráfica viene ahora? 1650 Super. So 1650 Super, guys. Probably going to be 50 to 60 because we are CPU bound. Ha! Gotcha. You're new? Well, welcome to the channel. Nice seeing you here, man. So it's loading the shaders now. That's why the graphics are missing. Give it a few seconds. It's going to fix itself. Come on, fix yourself. So yeah, this is the asynchronous shader compiler. The graphics will be missing until the shaders are compiled, as you can see. I will sub. Well, thank you. Thank you, man. Welcome to the channel. Hello, Jan Hurt. How's it going, man? It appears to be doing a lot better than the 1050 Ti, which makes sense. It has also better Vulkan support. So now we're locked at 60. What the heck? I'm surprised every day by this emulator. Holy hell. Yeah, this seems to be better because 1650 Super probably better compatibility with Vulkan. All good daily dose of Santiago. Yeah, exactly. Just like I do in real life. I wake up and I'm with Santiago every day. It's a nightmare. Please help. Send help. You should overclock the CPU like 4.2 GHz if you have a decent aftermarket cooler. Without core at 4.2 FPS will increase. Yeah, I have the stock cooler, so no chance to do that at the moment. But yeah, we'll see in the future. As of right now though, it appears to be completely stable. So let's go to the forest. It's GPU bound, but we're going to try it. And then we're going to do the Kakariko Village, 1440p. We test everything again, and then we do 4K. 4K on this one should be over 30, now that I'm looking at the performance. It's probably going to be just fine. How's the virus situation in your place? It's doing pretty bad, really. I mean, my family is safe, I'm safe, gratefully. I'm pretty grateful for that, yeah. But the country is handling it pretty poorly nowadays. We started great, but now we have spikes. So yeah, pretty poor situation at the moment, but it's going to improve eventually. There's a lot of vaccination going on super quickly, so I have good hopes. As you can see, the forest is fine. We're getting... Well, Connor, I hope they succeed in that fight. Just have some faith. It's going to be fine, man. We can all beat them together. I mean the viruses. Yeah, lock 60s. So good. I would go with the Pro 4, it's cheaper. Okay. Yeah, not a bad idea. Let's go to Kakariko Village, which is more CPU bound. Yeah, good luck. Good luck all of you out there fighting and not fighting. Bonjour, the France. Well, bonjour from Uruguay, man. I'm sorry if I messed up your language. Not my intention. So let's see now. How about the village? Alright. Over 50s, loading shaders. Come on. Okay, yeah, it's doing better than the other cards. At least on the CPU side. It's much better, actually. Now it's like mid-50s, low 60s, yeah. Mid-50s, low 60s. Not bad, and it's loading shaders at the same time. So yeah, definitely if you have a 16 series card, you're going to be using less CPU, which is interesting. It seems that the Vulkan runs better on the CPU with this card. You're not fighting as well? Well, that's still valid, I think. Anyways, yeah. On the 1650 Super is doing amazingly well. Some stutter every now and then, but it's compiling those shaders. So yeah, runs fantastically well on 1080p, so no need to do 900p really. It's 60 across the board. So let's now do 1440. Did you 100% the game, or did you download a save file? I did a save file. I couldn't finish the game. I got bored. Not my style. Not my type of game. Too much freedom. I like games when they have some restrictions, really. I get bored very quickly. So 1440p now, guys. We're keeping everything on default now because higher resolution. You know how that goes. So reflection is the same. Anisotropic filtering the same. What else am I missing? Nah, everything is fine. FPS++ at 60. Good. So, hang on. I'm going to change the resolution to 1440 in the desktop so the emulator understands that I want to do 1440p. So, let's start. So, 1440p, Vulkan. Wish me luck. I was saying that I like the name ASRock. Well, yeah, it can be misunderstood. Now, motion controls, I think you can configure them, but I don't know how to do it. Check BSOD Gaming on YouTube. He probably has a video talking about it. You have to set it to 16 times. If I set it to 8 times and high shadows, will it work better? I mean, it will look better, but it will perform a little bit worse. Okay, 1440p is 60 frames, 50 to 60. That's absolutely insane. Yeah, exactly, Jan Hurt. That's how it's pronounced, I think. But I mean, guys, look at this, over 50 at 1440p on a 1650 Super. What the heck? Yeah, ASRock. So yeah, it's running insane. You prefer gigabyte? I prefer terabyte. Haha. Yeah, that jokes. Mr. Galactic? What do you mean? Which style in Yakuza 0 is your favorite? Brawler. Okay, yeah, it's fine. Even turning things on fire. Let's go to the forest very quickly. But yeah, guys, I'd probably play, if the forest runs at 60, I'll probably play this at 1440p if I had the option. The Joker. ¿Por qué hay tantos corazones arriba a la izquierda? Porque estoy usando cheats. Yeah, I'm using cheats to have infinite hearts, infinite health, infinite stamina, infinite arrows. That's why there's so many hearts. What's after terabyte? I think petabyte. Petabyte, yeah, I think it is. Breakdancing is the best with Majima. Well, I forgot about Majima, yeah. Never mind, yeah, the breakdance one with Majima would be the best. I forgot about that, not sure why. Yeah, even in the forest, we're in the mid-50s. Even when there's a lot of fire. So, yeah. Interesting. Super interesting. Connor, as much or as little as you want. Already watching the live stream is great, so thank you for that, guys. So yeah, 60 is here, so Kakariko Village will be 60 as well. Who needs 1,000 terabytes anyways? Ask Linus Tech Tips. He made a petabyte, I think. A petabyte project. What if you go into a temple? The temples use even less resources. There's less going on inside temples. So yeah, don't worry. Temples are okay. Donate blood as well. Yeah, you need to help your community, guys. Donate blood if you can. It's super helpful, especially in times like these. Alright, Kakariko Village, mid-50s. As usual, when looking into the distance, it drops into the mid-50s, but after a few seconds it stabilizes. So that's alright. Let's drop down here. Boom! Yeah, 60 frames. No problems whatsoever. I mean, in the worst case, you're in the mid-50s. Your internet is ready for the 8K live stream. My internet isn't. Alright. Anyways. So 60 frames at 1440p. So no reason to do 1080p. Do 1440p. Do yourself a favor. Now it's time to do 4K. This is going to be pretty taxing. So wish me luck. So in graphics packs, in Breath of the Wild, we go to graphics. And as you can see here, the GPU is going to be at 4K. So 4K now. Oh man, this is going to be hopefully over 30, but who knows? You might be surprised. RIP GPU market. Yeah, the GPU market is not having a good time so far. Alright, let's continue. Did you unlock the secret fourth style in Yakuza 0? No, I got bored before getting the fourth style. Yeah, the 8K is coming after 4K, don't worry. There's no 570 though. Yeah, I already did the 570. Okay, over 30 frames per second. It looks absolutely wonderful at 4K. Holy hell. as I always say, so much sharper. It's insane. I mean, looking into the distance, I can see so many details. Like trees that aren't rendered yet. So yeah, absolutely insane. So if you wanted to do 4K, you can do it over 30 frames per second. That's absolutely crazy. On a 1650 Super, you can do 4K. Sorry, I needed some meat. Alright. Yeah, completely fine at 4K. Let's go to the forest, which is more demanding. So this is the moment of truth, the moment we see 4K is playable or not. We got this, we got this. What CPU? Listed in the description. You can find it all the way down there. With links if you want to buy them. Okay, the Korok Forest. Let's see if we can survive here at over 30 frames per second. Here we go. Can we request games? You should test. Yeah, no problem. Although, if you want to request games, guys, make sure you do so in the comments of my videos, so I can read all of them. That doesn't mean I'll make it, but it means that I'll read it. So make sure to post it on a comment on one of my videos, and I'll read it eventually. So as you can see, even with fire on screen at 4K, it's over 30 frames. So you can definitely do 4K on this card. On Breath of the Wild. So yeah, beautiful game. I'll probably play this at 4K if I had the option. So we avoid the 6 FPS bugs here and there. I mean, at 30 frames the game feels okay. So yeah. Let's do 8K now, just to do what you guys want. So we go to the graphics packs and we enable 8K. As you can see right here. We select 8K. So 7680 by 4320. So let's go. The moment of truth. 8K. 8K. So time for the 1650 Super to suffer every night. So you can feel its legs, arms, even the fingers. With the FPS it lost. It keeps hurting, like the frame rate playing at 8K. Let's go 8K, 8K, 8K. Yeah, 8K is the limits between humanity and not humanity. 10K, yeah, we're doing 8K, 10K after this one. Let's see the frame rate at 8K first, then we do 10K, because why not? Lower shadows and others. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'd rather do 8K first. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the best way to experience the game. I can now see Ganon all the way from the start of the game. Oh, how beautiful. Yeah, I'm not doing 10K. 8K is already killer enough. And we are already at the limits of the VRAM usage. So many pixels, holy hell. Yeah, looks amazing, don't get me wrong. I can even see, yeah, I can see individual rain particles in the distance. But yeah, this is complete slow motion. And with this is even more slow motion with my slow motion. So yeah. If you want to play it, if it was a GIF, well, there you go. Yeah, like a photo mode. Yeah, completely cinematic. Anyway, guys, that's about it for today. Thank you so much for watching this live stream, and I'll see ya next time. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See ya later. And yeah, this is the best way to play the game at 8K VULKAN. Hell yeah. See you next time, guys. On Friday with Resident Evil 8 demo, if it releases on Friday, of course. So bye, guys. Love you all. See you later.